Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Josh Snipes, and this is my Siege Academy series, which is basically a way for you to get better and for me to answer questions that a lot of people have over on the Siege Academy subreddit. I do this in a video format, but these people ask it all over the subreddit, and I try to answer them on there as well. So make sure you go on and check those out. Make sure you join up on that subreddit. Make sure also, if you have any questions for me, make sure to put it either in the YouTube comments or join up on Discord. You can always get a hold of me there. I try to answer questions a bunch there, and we have a bunch of knowledgeable people there also. But without further ado, let's get into Siege Academy number 4. So, starting it off, we're going to have what are some ways to improve consistency from nobody in particular. Now, he said that he's noticed that his score over the days when he's playing seems to go up and down. He's topped out at gold too, but he usually bounces between silver and gold, which is normal for a lot of people in the community. Also, his play style is more so he likes to plug holes on the offense, meaning that he likes to just pick whatever operator he thinks is necessary for the comp, and also he likes to do a little bit of lurking on the defensive roles. Now, a big thing is you can't really compare the attackers one-to-one. Thermite's not going to play the same role as, say, Ashe or Zofia, or maybe even sort of your flex roles like IQ or Twitch. So it's a really hard one-to-one comparison, which is why you might be thinking, I'm not doing consistently well. But in reality, it's not that it's a consistency problem. It just might be you prefer one role over the other. Also, another thing to consider is that when you switch roles in different games, and even just playing different games in general, you are playing a completely different team that plays completely differently from the team you just played. Whether that's they peek more, whether it's they spawn peek more, whether that is they're just running and gunning, they're just not using their brain at all, not droning. A lot of these things can kind of influence how you're going to do from round to round. You'll see that a lot. People will drop 10, 15 kills, and then all of a sudden they will hardly drop 5. And that's just from match to match, and it's a matter of how your playstyle and your placement and your positioning counters the other teams. And that's honestly why your consistency might not be the same. Now, are there people who are very consistent? Of course. A lot of times they stick on the same role. A lot of times when I'm playing, especially if I'm running in, say, even a duo or even a group, I like to play hard breach or that support that helps the hard breach get the walls open. So Thatcher, Hibana, Thermite, I play a lot of that. But every so often, I'll switch off to Ashe and Twitch if I'm feeling a little bit more confident, or if I just feel like entering more because we do have someone who's willing to play that support role and that hard breach role. So maybe take a try at maybe trying to be a little bit more consistent with who you pick and how you play them. My biggest thing is that your score in the leaderboard doesn't tell you the whole story. You need to make sure that you're fulfilling your role. If you're a hard breacher, get the wall open and get the hatches open. It's as simple as that. Now, for the next question we have from Paisley Park, we have Nomad or Maverick. Now, this is referring to Nomad or Maverick in solo queue. So this is going to be a little bit different than if you were maybe in a team comp. Now, for Nomad, some pros about her is that she cuts off rotations very easily, and she has 3 air jabs to cut off 3 separate rotations. And that's 3 doorways that you don't have to worry about. Now, the only downside is that some people over-rely on this and don't necessarily hold flanks or watch flanks or even try to follow up on anything that's happening behind them, which can be a downside. But overall, I think Nomad's air jabs really will save you, especially if you're solo queuing. You don't have to worry about runouts, you don't have to worry about flanks. As long as you put them in the right spot, you're going to be able to live a-okay. Now, as for Maverick, Maverick's fantastic at assisting hard breachers. And the reason I say assisting hard breachers is because it takes forever for him to actually put a hole in a wall that's a decent size that you can vault through. He can, however, Maverick trick, and I showed you guys on my last video on how to play Maverick, how you can do that. But overall, I don't think that he can replace a hard breacher, but I definitely think that he's in a very good spot. Although, if you're playing against him, all these holes that are getting poked in the reinforced walls that you have to deal with can be sort of a problem. So I don't think you want to play against him, but if you can pick Maverick, I would definitely go ahead. Now, as for my choice personally, listing off all those things that I've listed off for both characters, if I had to make a choice between Nomad or Maverick, buying those, I would definitely go with Nomad, especially if I solo queued a lot, because I don't have to watch a lot of flanks. I don't have to worry about teammates and relying on them watching my flank, especially if I'm going to go for a plant or go for a push. I don't want to worry about that stuff. So as long as I can put my air jabs down in the correct place, I can pretty much cover myself for the most part and just give information to my teammates where I put the air jabs and what air jabs actually go off. Now, for the next topic we have, is Mira in some objectives 100% needed to win? I feel like the objectives are set up to have a Mira in it. For example, Basement of Bank and Oregon. Mira is really powerful in these objectives. Kind of, do you need it, and is there a replacement for it? Now, Mira gets banned a ton, both in comp and in ranked, for the specific reason that you don't have to go onto a cam or anything to be able to see where the enemy team is, and you can actually follow up on a kill if the wall next to your Mira is soft. That's a lot of the reason why people bring Mira. Now, that's a lot of the reason why she gets banned also. The only way you can really play around not having a Mira is playing with intel. So think Valkyrie, Echo, Maestro, bulletproof cameras, even Mozzie now. These are a lot of intel ops that can help you out with deciding where people are. Now let's take a look at Oregon Basement. With Oregon Basement, you'll normally have a smoke sitting inside of the closet. Now, if he's sitting inside the closet but has no Mira, he's not going to know when the plant is exactly going down and when he needs to throw his smokes out. But with a teammate that's actually watching the cams, or if he himself is watching the cams, he's actually able to throw those nades out and be able to nade out whoever might be trying to put this plant down. That's a big portion of what you need to do when you don't have a Mira. It's a lot of intel ops, and a lot of intel ops have been getting banned, such as Echo. So you kind of just have to play around with what works and what doesn't work. I would definitely try playing some matches though without Mira and try to play around and figure out how exactly you think that playstyle fits. For me personally, it's all intel ops, and that's the only way that I've found a way to get around not having a Mira, especially on maps like Oregon and Bank. Now the next question comes from King Basm, and it's what counters a clash besides Nomad, and then what about a Monty using extended shield in the corner where there's no soft wall behind him? Now, a big thing for both of these is that the shields honestly have proved to be such a problem because people don't know how to deal with it. Now, the counters to both these are a tiny bit different, obviously, since they're on different sides, but taking a look at Clash, the biggest one that I've seen so far is flashbangs, either like a Yin Candela or a flashbang to stun her out, or a big one that we've seen in Pro League a lot is using a Zofia to be able to concussion mine her and pretty much get her shield to kind of pop to the side a little bit. Her shield moves a lot more than Monty's shield actually does, especially if you hit it. So I guess if you have to get up close and personal with her and she's shocking you and you can at least melee that shield, you'll be able to actually move her shield around and be able to actually shoot her feet. On both of these characters, you have to shoot at their legs or their feet. That's really the only way, unless for whatever reason they either switch off their shield or if Monty drops his shield. But even when Monty drops his shield, you can't shoot him in the head. You have to shoot him in his legs. So that's a big part of it. Now, another thing for Monty is that the only way you're going to be able to counter him is if you're in a 2v1 situation and you kind of corner him. You can, if you lay down, you can actually shoot like the back of his heel. Now, if you're in a 1v1 situation, you're truly stuck in a really bad position because it's kind of hard to 1v1 a Monty, because if you get too close and he drops his shield, he can knife you. If you get too far, he can shoot you with his pistol and you only see his head. So a lot of times what I've been doing is if I see him drop his shield, I'm pre-firing where his head is. Now, I'm not going to use all of my ammo just on the off chance that he peeks after I've used all my ammo, so I try not to shoot an entire mag into sort of the head spot and pre-fire that way. I try my best to try to either flash him out if I'm in a 1v1 or just play around a object or a piece of furniture so that way he can't come knife me, because I always have problems playing against a Monty. But those are some things that I have found work. Now, if you have any other tips and you're watching this and you go, hey Josh, you're totally wrong, I have a great idea, make sure to leave it down below, because I'm sure that a lot of people have different ways of countering both these characters. Now, for the last question we got, confirm the choose and how to get better at solo queue. I've been in silver 2 right now, trying to get up to gold, but I didn't play last season, but was gold all seasons before. Almost every match I dropped 6 to 10 kills, but my teammates don't always do the same. Now, some tips that I have for solo queue. Actually, I just solo queued my way pretty much from, I would say, gold at the beginning of season all the way to plat 2, which isn't super crazy in terms of moving ranks, but I was able to do that, and I've solo queue a lot on my alt account, so hopefully these are some great tips. Now, the first tip that I have for you is play your role. Now, when I say play your role, if you're playing hard breach, make sure the wall gets open. If you need to tell Thatcher, hey, come over here right now, I need to get this wall open, tell him that. Make sure you're communicating to your teammates how to exactly play and what you want them to do, what you need them to do, because a big part of it is most people will listen. They might be toxic and they might say something back, but most people generally listen if it's a smart idea. Getting the wall open is a fantastic idea, so you usually won't have any problems with that. I honestly would stick to your role. Another thing is trying not to overcompensate for what you're trying to do. And by overcompensate, I mean, you're like, okay, no, my team sucks. I need to get like 10, 15 kills or else we're going to lose. That overcompensating is normally what's going to end up getting you killed. And you're going to end up putting yourself in situations that you probably wouldn't have been otherwise. And lastly, the biggest thing that I've noticed is that try to keep you and your teammates from getting tilted. Don't let your teammates yell at you. Don't let your teammates yell at other teammates. Just, if someone starts yelling at each other, just say, hey, cool. It's fine. I try to do that a lot with my teammates, especially when I solo queue, because there's always someone that thinks that they're better than someone else, that something should have been done better. But when you're in the heat of the moment, you don't necessarily think through all of that. Also, help your teammates with some advice if you have any for them. Well, that looks like that's going to be the last of our topics for today. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them down below. Join the Discord. Make sure to go join Siege Academy. Ask any questions there. There's some fantastic people on that subreddit that know way more than I do. But hopefully that this was all useful to you if you had any questions like this one. Anyways, guys, that's going to wrap things up for today. This is going to be Josh Snipes signing off.